Hello. Okay. Welcome to our new resident info session. I see that we have quite a few here. So just some quick housekeeping for the start. So if you have questions, please put them in the chat. And then we have a presentation beforehand that we're going to go through. And then at the end, we are going to answer as many questions as we can. If we run out of time and we didn't answer your question, you can email residents@macewan.ca and we will answer your question through email. Right, so I will start with the introductions. So I'm Laura. I'm the consultant at Residence. So um, anything to do with your residence portal, I have probably designed that, as well as I help with the emails and room assignments, social media, and I have been here at Residence for 8 years now. And then I will pass it off to Diana.
Hi, I'm Diana. I'm the housing manager here at Residence. So I work closely with Laura as well as the managers of the front desk and residence life teams to coordinate everything in residence. Essentially, my role for my team is to put heads in beds as well as accounting and everything like that. So that's what our role is. Next, we're going to have Shrita.
Hey, hi everyone. My name is Shweta. I am the residence life manager here at MacEwan Residence. In my portfolio, I oversee all of the residence assistants, if you know who they are. And I also oversee all of the events and programming and any sort of support that you folks need during the school year. Yeah, I have a team of 20 RAs that will be living on your floors there to support you and help you as you need. And yeah, I don't know if I want to add anything, but
All right, we will get started. So this presentation, it is going to help you succeed at move-in and after move-in. So by attending this, you will know exactly what to do on move-in day, and you will know exactly when the deadlines are, and you will be set up for success because it can be very overwhelming the first couple weeks. So this kind of just lets you focus on other things, knowing that you have everything handled and you're not going to be getting emails from us saying you didn't complete things. So, just some quick facts. So, although most of our residents come from Western Canada, we do have a diverse group. We have about 25 plus countries that are represented as and then we have 860 beds, and all of those will be full this fall. We are fully occupied. And then, although our building is very much like an apartment design, you are 100% MacEwan student population. So you know that anyone in this building also goes to MacEwan. We have 24 study and social lounges, so you have lots of places to hang out outside of your room. And then just some interesting facts. We get over 32,000 parcels delivered throughout the academic year. And those all go through front desk and into our parcel lockers that we have. So never feel ashamed about placing that Amazon order. And then we also, our front desk manages just under 7,000 keys. So that's pretty impressive. Um, yeah, just quick facts, just interesting facts. All right, so move-in day. So move-in day is Friday, August 29th. We are starting at 6 a.m. So you can arrive anytime from 6 a.m. onwards. Um, 6 a.m. to 4 p.m., we're going to be across the street from Residence at Allard Hall, and there will be signs everywhere. You will not get lost. You will know exactly where to go, and there will be lots of people if you have questions of where to go. Um, and then the biggest thing is um, with move-in is we encourage you to get there early because, especially if you don't want to wait in a line. So the further it goes on in the day, things get lined up. It's busy. We're moving in 800 plus students. So um, you can expect lines for bins, you can expect lines for check-in, but it's a pretty smooth process and it does go quite fast compared to other institutions. But if you want to avoid lines, get there as early as possible. Diana, did you have anything else about move-in? Okay. So what do you do to move in? We make it very simple. So step one is to park. There's two surface lots right beside residence. There's a map in your housing hub on the portal that shows you exactly where to go. If you put in MacEwan Residence into Google Maps, it brings you right to residence. And then you just park in either one of the surface lots. There's one to the west of us and then one right on the north side of the building. And then in your residence portal, there's a QR code. So you need to show that with your photo ID to check in. And then once you check in, there's like a few things you have to sign. So there's a key registration form. If you're in a bachelor suite, you need to sign a residence agreement. And if you're under the age of 18, you need your parent or guardian with you on move-in day because they also have things they need to sign. And then after that, you'll get your keys and your proxy card, which gives you access to the building. From there, you can sign out a moving bin. Moving bins are very limited. We do not have enough for everyone. There's no place to put enough for everyone, so they are limited supply. They go fast. If you are on a lower floor that you can do the stairs, we do suggest kind of just carrying things up the stairs if you're able to. Bringing your own dollies, carts, things like that, just to help out. But if you do arrive later in the day, you're probably going to have to wait for a moving bin. And then once you get your moving bin, you can move into your suite. So there'll be lots of people in residence to direct you where to go. Our building layout's pretty simple. There's elevators on either side of the front desk, and there will be people in the lobby to direct you which elevator is the best one, but either elevator will get you to your suite. And then after you move in, do not forget to submit your suite condition report. It's done through your portal. You get access to it once you're checked in. And this is what we compare when you move out. So if you don't want to be charged for damage that you did not do, make sure you fill out your suite condition report, fill it out thoroughly. The more information, the better. Um, Put like if there's painting damage on a wall, put exactly which wall it is. You can even send photos if you want to residents. And we also suggest, my tip is when you move into the suite to take either photos or a video of your suite with a date, and because that has a date and a timestamp. So if you do get charged, you can be like, well, no, this is what the suite looked like when I moved in. That's just a pro tip as someone who's lived in a lot of apartments.
To add on to what Laura said, especially regarding parking and the move-in day map, this map looks all well and good, that it'll be easy access. There's a lot of construction going on around the building as part of the initiative to extend the LRT to the west end. And the closures change without notice to us. So we recommend using your Google Maps because that will usually include the closures and let you know where to go for the parking. As well, we did get a question regarding moving bins. You don't have to grab one to go move in. Like if you only have a couple boxes, you don't have to complete that step. It is a stop you can make if you don't have your own moving bin or dolly, but we are adding the caveat that they do go quick.
Correct. Yes, so this map is also in your housing hub on the portal, but like Diana said, this is what the roads are like at this moment in time. It can change. I drive to work every day, and trust me, it changes. But so you'll either enter, at the moment, you can enter from kind of behind residence to the north. There's a road directly to the north, or if you're coming from the south, you kind of have to pass MacEwan and then enter onto 112th Street. But like I said, Google Maps is your friend when it comes to finding residents right now. And you can download this on your housing hub. All right, so what if you can't move in on August 29th and you want to show up earlier? You can absolutely do that. So on your housing hub, there is an early arrival request form. So you just need to download that, fill it out, email it to residents@mcewan.ca, and we will process them as soon as we can. There is an extra charge of $50 per night. And then if you need to arrive after August 29th, we just ask that you email us at residents@mcewan.ca. There's no charge for arriving late, but it just helps us out with planning if we know that you're not moving in on move-in day. And then we can update your booking, and then we're not emailing you after move-in saying, where are you? Are you still moving in? So just out of courtesy, we ask that you email. But if you're arriving early, there's a form and there is an extra charge. And it is all based on availability. So because we do have students who have lived here throughout the summer, so depending on which suite you've been assigned, we try to accommodate all early arrivals, but we cannot make any guarantees.
And as Laura mentioned, if you've already submitted a form, we should get back to it by the end of this week. We did get a lot of emails after sending the welcome reminder, so we are still going through those and responding to emails as fast as we can.
All right, residence fees and payments, the fun part. So what are your residence fees due? Well, this is also on your housing hub, but fall term, the most important one that you need to know right now, fall term fees are due by September 22nd. So you have lots of options for paying. So you can pay per term if you want, you can pay everything all at once, or we also have payment plans, which we'll talk about a little later. Um, and then you just pay through your residence portal under the accounts tab, or you can also pay at the front desk. So your residence portal, we accept credit card and debit. The front desk only accepts debit. And then I have more information about that. So, like I said, residence fees are all on your portal. So if you log into your portal and select accounts on the top menu bar, you'll see what you owe and it's divided out by term. And then, yes, credit card or debit. The biggest thing is, especially if you are a returning student, we no longer accept checks or money orders. So it has to be credit card, debit, or if you're an international student, we do accept Flywire payments, which you can email us to get that information if you don't have it.
We also accept Interact e-transfers, and you can also email us to get information on how to send that. There is a specific email you need to send that to, which is ebill@mcewan.ca. It's not selecting MacEwan as the payee on your online transactions. There is a specific process for e-transfer, so you can email us for those instructions. And you may notice that your fall term fees, they're going to be a little bit less than your winter term, or if you're staying over the spring summer, a little bit less than that, because the $400 confirmation fee that you paid, that is applied to your fall term fees. So it reduces the balance just a little bit.
Also, if you are paying through your portal and it's not going through, reduce the amount that you're trying to pay. That can help, as well as especially because you're a student, you may have a limit on your bank account. If you have like a student account, you probably have a daily limit. So just keep that in mind. Don't wait until September 21st at 10 p.m. to pay your residence fees. Try to pay them earlier because you might have to split them up into multiple payments.
We just received a question about online banking. Don't use your online banking. There's like specific e-transfer instructions. So this is kind of like that, because the online banking, the money goes to an account that doesn't exist. So email us for Interact e-transfer instructions, which is very similar to online banking.
And then we also offer monthly payment plans. So we realize that a lot of students have jobs or they get funding that you can't pay everything all at once. So you can email residents@mcewan.ca. What we require is a pre-authorized debit agreement form. So this you get through your bank. If you have online banking or the banking app on your phone, you can usually just download a copy. If you aren't able to download a copy, you would have to go to your bank and request the form and then submit it to us. And then we also would need to know which date you want auto withdrawals to happen. So the university auto withdrawals on the 1st or the 15th of the month, so it's up to you based on whatever works best for your schedule. The way a monthly payment plan works is we take your total amount that you owe and we divide it into how many months are in your contract. So you're not paying for the month necessarily, which I think is something very important to know. So you're paying a set amount each month divided by how many months are in your contract, if that makes sense. It's not like your September payment isn't necessarily covering September 1st to September 30th. There just is sometimes some confusion over that, especially once we get to April and people ask, why am I paying the same amount as March when I'm moving out before the end of April? But it's because we've divided it into 8 months, not necessarily by date. And then there's also a $50 payment plan fee, and that is just added onto your first month. So you'll always notice that your first month that you pay is $50 more than the rest. And then these are just automatically withdrawn from your bank account. Once your payment plan is set up, all you have to do is ensure that the funds are in your account each month. If that makes sense. If it doesn't, please email.
And that's a really important note Laura makes is the money automatically will come out of your account. If you're questioning whether it has or not, you can send us an email. Don't e-transfer the payment. Don't try to pay at the front desk. It's already set up to automatically come out of your account. And it's a lot of work to change that and can result in you getting a non-sufficient fund fee from your bank, as well as if the payment date lands on a weekend or statutory holiday. So if, let's say October 1st is a Saturday, which I don't think it is, but let's say October 1st is a Saturday. That money won't come out on Saturday because banks don't operate on the weekend. It'll come out the next business day, which is typically the Monday or Tuesday if Monday is a stat holiday.
Yes. Yes, if you have questions, please email. I'm the one who arranges the payment plan for you, so I'm like more than willing to have a meeting with you, phone call, or we can meet in person after move-in. But I think I know that a lot of students who have moved in have probably never had a payment plan before, and they are confusing if you've never had one, so it's okay to ask questions. And then just some additional information. So tenant insurance, all residents need to have tenant insurance. So this protects your belongings if something happens in the building. It covers you liability wise and all that. And it's really important to have because things outside of your control can always happen. Um, you are automatically enrolled into our insurance program, which is done through Marsh, and all of that information is on your housing hub. You can read through what it covers, and then some students have their own tenant insurance, or your parents might have insurance that also covers you. You can opt out, and there's an opt-out link in your housing hub on the portal. You have to opt out by September 15th. There are no extensions on that. It is not done through us, it's done through Marsh Insurance. And after September 15th, the link doesn't work and you can't opt out. We have no say in that. So that's just really important to know that deadline. And
The
Diana
insurance
probably has
is
more info.
Yeah, the insurance is really important to have. The reason we have this is if you've seen other people living in apartments, accidents happen. People overflow their sink, toilet overflows, a radiator pipe bursts because somebody keeps their window open. Water damage can happen, smoke damage can happen, fire damage. It's a worst case scenario, but this way you are covered in that worst case scenario. There is a $500 deductible, so it only covers if the total loss is over 500. But you have that there in the event it happens.
And then third-party access. So if you want a third party to help you out with something, say your parent or guardian, you want them to help you out with your payment plan, or you want them to be, Diana, you probably can explain this better.
Essentially, the only person who can access information about your stay in residence is you. If your parent or guardian wants to know anything about your stay, you have to facilitate that conversation. And the best way to do that is send us an email and CC them, because that's how we know that you are asking for them to be involved in this conversation. If they email us and you're not involved at all we tell them is have your student reach out to us. So you're the only one we can release information to. So make sure that your parents are aware of that.
All right. So now you've moved in and something has gone wrong with your suite. Your sink is clogged, or your shower is overflowing, or your bed creaks, um, things like that. We have maintenance on site, so we have a MacEwan facilities. They work Monday through Friday during the day. If it's an emergency that like it's going to damage the building if this doesn't get looked after right away, they are also on call. But you can submit a work order through your portal, so you will have access to this once you move in, and it's called maintenance, and it's just on your portal on the top menu bar, and you can just submit what's wrong. Even if it's a light that's burnt out, you are not responsible for changing the lights or anything like that. And facilities will come within 5 business days to address the issue. Um, you can also stop by the front desk and tell them, and they will submit the work order for you. All that we ask, the main things is when you submit a work order, make sure your roommate knows that facilities is also going to be stopping by within 5 business days so they're not surprised. As well as if the work order, if they need access to something, so say your heat isn't working and they need access to the radiator, make sure you move things away from there so that they have a clear path. Um, or, if it's the showers clog, clear everything out of your shower for them, just things like that so that they have access. You're not required to be home when they show up. If they come while you're in class or at work, they just leave a slip on the kitchen table saying that they were in your suite. Yeah. After move-in, so when you do your suite condition report after you move in, because you're all going to do that, um, if there's a work order, they will try to come within 5 days, but it gets really busy that first few weeks. So it might be a bit over 5 business days if it's something that isn't urgent, because they handle all the move-in requests, they handle in order of priority.
Um, Another thing to keep in mind is everyone's going to keep their room spotless, clean, right? There are some instances where some people aren't the tidiest, and something to note is if you submit a work order and the area is not clean, they will not be completing that work order until that area is clean. So make sure your space is clean at all times, not just when submitting work orders, but just give you a heads up, they won't complete the work order if the space isn't clean. And then we get involved and have conversations with you about the cleanliness of your room space. And then regarding internet work orders, so there can be some issues connecting to devices when first coming in. The main thing to know is that when you're using your username, it's at MacEwan.ca, not at mymacEwan.ca, like your login for the portal. It's at MacEwan.ca when you're trying to log in. It's your student credentials for logging into the internet, but it's the only difference is at MacEwan.ca rather than at mymacEwan. And then if we will have a work order, do we get a notification on which day they arrive? They will not let you know which day they are arriving. They get to it they triage the work orders, and then they get to it when they have staff and time, but they will be coming within 5 business days. If it's an emergency work order, like toilet clogged, fridge not working, they'll try to do it same day, but they don't work weekends. So that's another thing to note. We do have temporary suites to move you or your food to until the next business day. But yeah, you don't get notification on the day they arrive. They always knock on the door before entering and then call out. So you do have notice before somebody comes in. But other than that, there's no advance notice because it's not known when they be coming.
All right, so here's just a review of all of the important dates. So August 29th, move-in day. September 15th, deadline to opt out of insurance if you have alternate insurance. September 22nd, residence fees are due for the fall term. If you are only staying with us for the fall term, your move-out date is December 20th. And then January 2nd, there's a small move-in day for those moving in the winter term. So if your roommate moves out in December, you will most likely get a new roommate starting January 2nd. You will get notice that you might get a new roommate. And then January 15th, there's another opt-out for the insurance program for the winter move-in students. January 23rd, if you haven't paid all your fees, your winter term fees are then due. If you paid everything in September, you don't need to worry about that. And then if you are only staying with us for fall and winter, which is what most students do, your move out day is going to be April 22nd. We do have a small group of students that stay with us for the summer, and your move out date for the summer is on your portal. All right, and I will turn it over to Shrita to talk about everything Res Life, which is the fun stuff.
Hey, it's my turn to rock and roll now. Um, Res Life, just for context before we jump into the O week events and things like that. Um, like I said earlier in my introduction, the Residence Life team, consisting of myself, three Residence Life coordinators, and a team of 20 RAs, and four senior RAs that you'll kind of see around. They're here to make sure you're having a great time in residence and put on events and give you some support as needed. So if you have questions about, what will I do about my midterm, or like if I need accommodations, or in general need support, you can also direct that to my team. But a large chunk of our portfolio is to make sure that you folks have fun, and part of that is making events. To begin with, we have over 170 events throughout the year, but in the first week of school. I'm going to say school, the first week in September. We have these things called Orientation Week events, because Orientation Week lasts in residence from August 29th to September 6th. There are a series of really fun programs where you can meet new people, make new friends before the school year really starts to kick in. And one thing I will say, I had my own kind of version of a week when I went to school, and I made one of the closest friends that, we're still best friends and will probably be best friends for the rest of, our lives. And so keep your mind open, meet new people, so on and so forth. We do have a residence Discord. It is live and you folks can join if you would like. If you want to learn more about events or just chit chat with the other residents in the building throughout the year. Correct me if I'm wrong, Laura, but the residents Discord, the link to join is on their portal as well. So yeah, if you log into your portal, you should find the link there. If not, once you sort of move in, there will definitely be an RA around to show you into Discord. So yeah. So, I'm going to go through all of the O-Week events. We have 9 of them. We start off the first day, Friday, August 29th, which is move-in day. You will spend most of your day move-in. At 4, the RA team will um, gather everybody that like live on their floors and do a quick floor meeting where you folks can introduce yourself to each other and also learn about all the things the RAs and the Res Life team can do for you. Once you're done with the floor meeting, the RAs will walk you to the green space, which is right in front of the residence building, for a fun campfire with games and marshmallows and s'mores and so on and so forth. On the next day, on August 30th, we will be going to IKEA. As you can probably tell already, our theme is dinosaurs slash Jurassic Park. We don't know how much we hit the Jurassic Park theme on the head, but it is dinosaur themed. So there is an IKEA trip scheduled in. You'll meet in the lobby. We'll go with buses, and there may be a chance to win something. So it could be a cart. It could be something, some money to buy some stuff for yourself for your room. So keep a lookout for that. On the Sunday, this is called Adulting 101, but keeping with the dinosaur theme, Adultosaurus 101. If you have any questions about, living in Edmonton, how do you access things, how do you live with a roommate, just in general, anything that you kind of need to adult, this is the session that you should go to. Um, there will be a bunch of snacks as well as, RAs around to point you directions if you need. And then the next day at I hope it's the next day. At 4 p.m. is the Amazing Raptor Race. If you know about the Amazing Race in general, you'll kind of have an idea of what this will look like. But we'll put you into teams and have you folks do some fun activities across campus and even downtown. And then if you complete some fun tasks and you are lucky enough, you might win some cool prizes. And then on the September the 2nd in the evening, there's a Dino Night at the Tower. So this is a Towers pub, which is our school pub. It is in Building 6, if I'm correct. Um, and it's a fun night. You'll be able to get some food, some drinks, listen to music, do some karaoke, um, and so on and so forth. Sorry, the internet's a little slow. There we go. And then night at the Jurassic Park. We will be taking a trip to the Edmonton Valley Zoo. Spots are limited, but exciting news. We have booked out the entire zoo, so you get it all to yourself and the rest of your residents. The rest of your friends in residence to see all the animals there, so on and so forth. And we will be signing in at the main lobby and taking you via bus again. Not to the Edmonton Zoo, unfortunately, because we are paying per head. Um, it will have to be a first come, first serve kind of a thing. But for the other events, sure. And then on Thursday, September the 4th, we have laser tag at Laser City. Again, we'll be taking you folks on a bus to head there, and you can meet the RAs in the lobby. It's from 4 to 8 p.m. It's amazing. You can wear your dinosaur costume if you have one. I have one in my closet, so I'm probably gonna pull that one out for a week. And then on Friday, September the 5th, we do know that Fall Fest is happening on campus. So we haven't put anything, too involved and exciting and things to go out elsewhere. But if you are somebody who maybe just wants to take a break and stay in residence and chill out, we will be putting on Jurassic World Rebirth, the new one that I still haven't watched. I plan on watching it. Maybe I'll watch it at a week. So for a fun chill night in, this is the day. And then I'm pretty sure this is the last one. um for the zoo, I think that's the question, Diana. Sorry, I just saw a question
It
come up.
doesn't list which event they're asking for. If you can, the person who just asked that question about how many spots are there, which event were you asking about?
For the zoo, we have 125 spots. But obviously keeping in mind that we do have to count the RA team in there, so it'll come down to around maybe 115. But yeah. And then on the last day, which I'm pretty sure this is the last event, we will be going to an aerial park. I'm not exactly sure which aerial park it is, but we will be going to an aerial park where if you're somebody that likes climbing things and doing some really fun sporty activities, this is the event for you.
Couple more questions, Shrita, about how many spots are there for each event?
For the stuff happening on campus, so the campfire and things like that, there is no limit to the number of people that can attend. We have kind of, invited it for everyone. But the ones that we're going off campus to, the zoo especially has a limit because we're paying per head, but for the rest, it would be we have around 2 to 3 buses, so it'd be how many people can fit in those buses. Um, and if you are willing to come in by yourself, that can also be a possibility. Um, Registering for the limited, so it's a first come, first serve basis, essentially. So we will be meeting in the lobby, and typically there's a lineup. So if you are at the front of the line, you will get in the bus quicker, and we'll kind of just take attendees until we can't anymore. Okay. Fantastic. Those were all the O Week events. Don't worry if you miss any of the O Week events. Those aren't the only events in the year. We do similar, larger scale events throughout the year as well, where we take you folks to like Muttered, maybe. We've done that one year. We've done, rollerblading and rock climbing and so on and so forth. And so, if you do end up missing any of these for any reason, there'll definitely be more opportunities for you to do other fun stuff during the year. But yeah, roommates. Residence life kind of manages a lot of like the roommate stuff that you will kind of come with. So if you're ever having like issues living with your roommate or you just need some support navigating what it looks like, having a roommate, we are the folks that you can come to. A good kind of, thing that I would suggest and something that really worked for me as well when I first started living with roommates is, be transparent and truthful. Talk about your preferences and habits, how you communicate with each other, what shared items you have. Are you going to be sharing those items? Those are kind of things that you want to talk about. Um, and then again, noise, guests, allergies, cleaning habits, and more. We do have a roommate agreement that must be filled out. Essentially, it is on your residence portal as well for you and your roommate to download and fill out and submit as needed. Um, Once you're done filling out your roommate agreement, you will email it to us at ResLife at MacEwan within 3 weeks of you checking in, essentially. And then I think in September, the due date is September the 21st. We will also send you a reminder email in September at some time because we do know that moving in is a lot of work and there's a lot of moving pieces. And so we'll remind you once you've settled in that you do need to fill out a roommate agreement.
Yeah. So as Shrita said, it's better to start completing the roommate agreement now, start talking through it with your roommate, getting it done now before school starts and everything like that.
Okay. As Laura mentioned earlier, um, we we have around 860 beds, and this year we are full. Um, and so when a conflict happens and something happens between your roommates, we won't be able to, um, you know, approve a room change request as swiftly as we were if you were a returner the years before. Um, which is why we have created a little bit more of a robust roommate conflict process. Obviously, we we will start off with always encouraging you to speak with your roommates and attempting to resolve the conflict within yourselves, because that is, in my opinion, the easiest and most effective way to do it. But if you need more support, we are there for you to help in terms of, just giving you some tips and tricks on having better conversations. An RA can do that for you. Um, we would also be able to support you with a mediation at an SRA level, and then an RLT might even be able to have an intervention or like some sort of other conversation that is a little bit more firmer with your roommate, if they maybe need that conversation. One thing that, we do want to highlight with this process, just because of the room spaces and availability and just what we're anticipating this year to go, like, a room change request is dependent on the availability of the room spaces and will only be considered once you have completed the full conflict resolution process as it's listed here. What that means essentially is, you know, if you do come in with a concern about your roommate and you don't have a roommate agreement, for example, we will direct you towards the roommate agreement to fill it out. If you maybe already had a conversation with your RA, our next steps would be mediation, so on and so forth. Obviously, there are exceptions, like in most cases, but those would be looked at on a case-by-case basis. Okay, fantastic. Guests. Guest sign-in usually happens during the school year on Friday and Saturday, starting at 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. You will essentially, during this time, have to meet your guests in the lobby and sign them in as a guest. You may have up to 3 guests signed in at one time, and you're responsible essentially for all the actions and decisions that your guest makes. Um, Overnight guests may stay up to 3 consecutive nights to a maximum of 15 nights a month, or is it a semester? I'm not sure. Do not quote me on that. It's in the residence community standards, but for a maximum of 15 nights. Um, Please ensure that you're following these rules and we will be the best of friends. The reason why we have a guest sign-in thing is Friday and Saturdays are usually our busiest days, and it does end up getting quite busy just in the lobbies and in the lounges and things like that. And so, as a preemptive measure to ensure just safety for everybody in the building, we require sign-in on these days. Additionally, during O week, starting moving day right up until the Saturday the 6th, there are no overnight guests permitted in residence. What this means is if you have anybody coming to visit you, they will have to essentially leave at the end of the night or, find other accommodations. Um, on September the 7th, which I'm pretty sure is a Sunday, the regular guest policy comes back into effect and you can start having overnight guests. The reason why we do this during O week is again, like it is one of our busiest weeks in the year. There's a lot of, just traffic and people coming in and out. Additionally, we want you to make friends with new people and meet new people, and this is our way of sort of facilitating that.
All right, so that is the end of our presentation. If you need to contact us, our email is right here, residence@mcewan.ca, as well as if you want to follow us on Instagram. Instagram's the best place to follow us for fun information that we post. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat because we do still have about 15 minutes. Were there any questions that weren't answered?
Yes. So one of the questions that was asked was, are the costs associated with these activities for the orientation week covered, or do the residents have to pay? I have responded with your residence life fee. You'll notice it as part of your residence fees. It's $100 per term. So $100 fall term, $100 winter term. That covers you. So you don't have to pay any additional cost for these events. For the roommate agreement, there appears to be an issue with Safari accessing it. So if you're having issues accessing any of the forms on the Housing Hub, try a different browser. I was able to open it with Google Chrome, so utilize a different browser like that or one of your preference. Are the orientation events on our website? They're not on our website, but they will be advertised on our Instagram. So keep an eye on our Instagram as we hype them up as they come and on the day of. On move-in day, we will also have a welcome tent where staff, Residence Life staff, the RAs, will be talking about all the events that are going on. Are we allowed to decorate our suites? If so, what decorations are acceptable? Posters, decorative things, etc. Laura, as the person who does appeals, how would you respond?
So, yes, you can decorate your suite. We absolutely encourage you to make your room your home. You are there for 4 to 12 months, depending on your contract. Things to keep in mind. You have a bulletin board, so definitely utilize the bulletin board over the walls. If you do put things on the walls, I will say you are doing that at your own risk. The paint can peel when, like, if you tape things to the wall, if you use the 3M command strips, if you don't take them off properly, you're at risk of peeling the paint, and then you would be responsible for a painting charge, which is usually about $110 per wall. And I will say this, if you like peel something off, if the paint peels and you're charged, we can't just spot paint, we have to paint the entire wall. So just things to keep in mind. But all suites have bulletin boards. If you are going to use the command strips, use the brand name 3M ones. Do not use anything else because I almost guarantee the paint will peel. And then if you are using the 3M command strips, make sure you read the instructions, put them on correctly, make sure that the little tab at the bottom is showing so that when you go to pull it off, you can use that tab to pull it off properly. But again, you're doing it at your own risk. So definitely, when you're thinking about decorating, definitely think, how can I decorate without using the walls?
Another thing to keep in mind is candles are not permitted, so open flames are not permitted. That can be included into incense. What other decorative things aren't included, Laura?
Um, like that you can't have.
Yeah.
Um, so you can have plants, but definitely like minimize how many because if you have a lot of plants, you're gonna get moisture in your room. Um, the lights, I know that everyone likes the like strip lights that you put across your walls and everything. Um, just so you know, they will damage when you pull those off. There's no way to get those off without damaging your wall, and we see it every year. So definitely don't do the strip lights across your walls.
Another question we have is, are the move-in steps the same if we choose to come later? So I can take this one on. If you choose to come later, let us know. And that the reason we ask that is not just for tracking our records, is when we change your move-in date from the August 29th to a later date, it will update your move-in instructions. So it will show you the instructions based on your move-in date. So Dolores done an amazing job building out the portal, and it is intuitive and it changes the instructions based on the move-in date you choose. So if you haven't already emailed us to let us know you're coming on a later date, definitely do. Question for you, Shrita. Can guests only sign in on Friday and Saturday nights?
Um, yes, no, sorry, let me clarify. Sign-in only happens on Friday and Saturday night. You can have guests over if on regular days that is not Friday and Saturday night. We specifically have sign-in mostly just to manage the crowds and ensure that, like, everybody is being safe because those are the days that we have most traffic in. But yeah, if you want to bring somebody over or a friend, definitely you can do it at any on any day. Just keep in mind that the regulations around visitors still remain, so you can't have an overnight guest for longer than 3 consecutive nights and for a maximum of 15 days.
Will these slides be emailed out? We won't be emailing out the slides. You can email us requesting them. We will be posting this video, replacing the invite on your Housing Hub with this video, so it will be accessible there. Next one, Laura, I'll have you take this. What is in a 2-bedroom suite?
Okay, so you have in your bedroom of the 2-bedroom suite, you have a desk. It is a little bit bigger than a double, but a little bit smaller than a queen. Get queen sheets, is what I tell people. You have a desk, you have a nightstand slash desk. I don't know. Some people use it as a nightstand, some people use it under their desk, but it has 2 drawers. You have a closet organizer, and then your kitchen, you have a fridge, a full-size fridge, a stovetop, no ovens in residence, but we do have stovetops, air fryers. I suggest bringing an air fryer in place of an oven. And you have a kitchen table, 2 chairs, and then you have a washroom in your suite with a shower, toilet, sink.
Yeah, and if you need to see, like if you want to see what a room looks like, you can go to our website. Just go to the 2-bedroom suite under the suite types. It has pictures of there, and then it also has links to a virtual tour. Do the suites have curtains or blinds? You might be able to tell from Shrita's background, but it is a roller blind window. So there isn't curtains, it's a roller blind. So there is a little bit of gap. Yeah, she's showing it right now. So that's what the windows look like. Which room is A and which room is B? When you walk in the entrance door, A is typically on your left and B is on your right. Is there any way of knowing the color of our kitchen wall before we come in between the red, blue, or green? I'm going to say no to that because your room number can change up until move-in. Maintenance issues can arise. We do a cursory check in the month of August. If a maintenance issue arises, your room might be changing. So that your assigned room may change before you move in. Are toaster ovens allowed? Laura?
Yes. Yes. So small appliances are allowed, toaster ovens, air fryers, um, but no like big appliances, mini fridges, freezers, that sort of thing.
Yeah, so no mini fridge or no freezer. Shrita, I think this one's for you. Regarding events and general updates for residents, will the Instagram be updated the same as the Discord? Is one better to keep an eye on than the other?
I would definitely recommend keeping an eye out on the Discord a little bit more for residents events. We do a lot of events, and if we did try and post it on the Instagram as well, it would get really quickly bogged down. So the residents Discord will have all of your events. In fact, there'll probably be an events tab up there on your Discord server with a list of all of the events that's kind of coming up, so you can pre-plan for it if you're that kind of a person. Additionally, we have digital screens on every single floor in residence. So starting from floor 2 right up till floor 13, the posters will be on the screens as well for you, if you're sort of interested in keeping an eye out that way.
Yeah. And if there's any general updates, like if there's something impacting the building or your specific suite, we will also send out an email if this is something you need to know. Is there a way to know what floor my room is on, or do we find out on move-in day? Go to your housing hub. Your housing hub has all that information right now. It'll tell you your move-in date. It'll tell you how to move in. It'll tell you your current assigned room number. So keep an eye on that. It'll tell you your assigned roommate. And you can start chatting with your assigned roommate. So go to your housing hub. It has all the information on the residence portal. Shrita, are there any general rules around noise?
Yeah, so we have quiet hours in residence during the weekdays, I would say. The quiet hours are from, what was the quiet hours again? 10 p.m. They're from 10 p.m. and they go right until 7 a.m. in the morning. which essentially means is we don't expect you to be like pin drop silent, but in general, be mindful of your neighbors and be quiet. And then on the weekends, the quiet hours begin at 12 a.m. and they go right until 7 a.m. in the morning. During this time, just essentially try and keep minimal noise levels. And I see that the next question is which floors are the quiet floors? The quiet floors are floors 4 and 12.
And during the exam period, we have 24/7 quiet hours, so just respect the volume. As somebody answered, when you're looking at your assigned room number, if it's 3 digits, the first number is your floor. If it's 4 digits, the first two numbers is your floor. And an example is provided. So like 1327A is floor 13, room 27, A bedroom. If that was 327A, it would be floor 3, room 27, room A. That looks like it's our last question. Before we head out, does anyone have any other questions? We'll give it a minute. If not, have a great evening, everyone, and we look forward to welcoming you in a couple weeks on August 29th. How many floors? There are 13 floors in residence. It includes the main floor, so technically there are 12 floors occupied by residents. And it does say floor 13 in the elevators. Are we allowed alternate lighting? Like if we wanted to put something on the windows to make it darker. Laura, did you want to take that one on?
So you can definitely bring like lamps and things like that. You can't put anything on the window that would like damage the window. Um,
Yeah, like if you were to put cardboard or something, we know it's going to create moisture, which can create potential for mold, so that wouldn't be permitted. If you wanted to put up a adjustable bar and some curtains, you could. Just make sure that you're doing everything you can to not damage the walls. Anything else to add to that, Laura?
no, I don't think
Okay.
so.
Does room A or B matter? For example, if you're assigned A, could you take B instead? It does matter because you're getting the keys to your assigned bedroom, and the bedroom door should be locked. So if you're getting the A key set of keys, you have to move in there. And once you check in, it is next to near impossible for us to change that room assignment. So you have to move into your assigned room. And it for emergency purposes, it's really important. So if EMS were to come and ask what room you are, we would be saying the room we have in our system. So make sure if you have any concerns with your assigned room before move-in, you email us. Hanging pictures. What's the policy in putting picture hanging nails in the wall, Laura?
Um, yeah, so again, it's at your own risk. You can definitely do it, and people do it, but if there's a lot of holes, you may be charged for it to be repainted. Um, Obviously, like one tiny little hole probably is going to go unnoticed, but again, it's all at your own risk. If you move in and you want to put things on the walls and you're fine with being charged $100 per wall to repaint your suite, then go for it. But if you're someone that doesn't want any charges, I would definitely encourage not hanging things on the walls.
Yeah. So the big recommendation is probably don't do it because the risk is bigger than what you probably want. Because I've seen somebody put one thing up with a nail and then the nail falls, the painting rips the paint. So it's better to err on the side of caution and not do it.
And your desk is really big, like, because these desks are from like when the building was first built, and obviously people just have tiny little laptops now. But so you could like rest photos on your desk up against the wall rather than actually putting them on the wall is a alternative.
Okay, I'm not seeing any more questions. Okay, that looks like it was the last question, Laura.
right. Well,
Okay.
thank you for attending.
And if you have any questions, send us an email at residence@mcewan.ca. You can also visit our Instagram or our YouTube page for more information.